Hello and welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking something that most people look at with absolute dread, and we're going to flip it into something totally magical. Yep, we're talking about mental math. If you've always felt like arithmetic is just this tedious, mind-numbing chore, well, get ready for a totally new perspective. Today we're reframing math into a series of magical secrets just waiting for you to unlock them.
Let's jump right in. Look at this equation right here. 23 times 88 plus 77 times 88. Realistically, if I asked you to solve this right now, without your phone, without a calculator, how long would it take? A minute? 2? Would you just kind of guess? It looks completely daunting, right?
Okay, let's dive into this. We are basically looking at a classic showdown, the frustrating 1-minute nightmare versus a 10-second magic spell. On one hand, you've got the traditional way, right? Stacking numbers, multiplying, carrying digits, adding up those huge sums. But on the other hand, we have this incredible 10-second shortcut. We are about to completely change how you even look at these numbers.
Section 1, Math is like puzzles.
So, the very first paradigm shift we need to make is realizing that math isn't just about brute force calculation. It's actually a lot more like solving a fun, whimsical IQ puzzle. The source material uses this classic analogy to prove the point. How do you put an elephant in a fridge? People always try to overcomplicate it, but look at the elegantly simple steps. Step 1, open the door. Step 2, put the elephant inside. Step 3, close the door. Sure, it's a bit of a joke, but it perfectly illustrates that really complex tasks often have brilliantly simple solutions. We just have to stop overthinking and change our perspective.
And that brings us perfectly to our first technique, which is called the apple rule. Basically, this means grouping intimidating, repeating numbers in an equation and treating them as simple apples. We've got to stop seeing scary digits and start seeing simple, everyday, countable objects. This right here reveals the real underlying logic of math.
Now, let's actually apply that apple rule to our nightmare equation from earlier. Instead of 23 times 88, let's just say we have 23 apples. And instead of 77 times 88, we have 77 apples. Well, if you add 23 apples and 77 apples, what do you get? You get a perfectly round 100 apples. In this case, the apple is just a visual placeholder representing the number 88.
So when you break it down, we really just have 100 times 88, which brings us to our incredibly satisfying final calculation, 8,800, instantly, without ever touching a calculator. By simply shifting how we looked at the numbers, the math literally did itself.
Moving on to Section 2, the magic spells of 5 and 25.
Let me pose a brand new, seemingly tricky question to you. What is 88 times 5? Now, if you try to calculate this the standard way in your head, multiplying the 8, carrying the 40, it takes up a lot of mental bandwidth. But there's a much, much better way. We're going to use the spell of 5.
Multiplying by 5 is actually a remarkably simple two-step spell. Step 1, have the number. Step 2, add a 0. That is literally it. Let's walk through it together. What is half of 88? Effortlessly, it's 44.
Now, you just add a 0 to the end of that 44, and triumphantly we reveal the answer, 440. This trick works in mere seconds. It is absolutely perfect for calculating a 5% tip at a restaurant or figuring out a quick discount on the fly. It totally bypasses standard multiplication, and honestly, it just makes you feel like an absolute genius when you pull it off.
So why does this actually work? Well, as the magician's secret states, multiplying by 5 is mathematically the exact same thing as multiplying by 10 and then dividing by 2. The thing is, for our human brains, dividing by 2 first, having the number, and then multiplying by 10, adding a 0, is just way, way easier to process on the fly.
So, let's level up. I want to challenge you to use some bigger magic here. What about 88 times 25? Ugh, that sounds awful to calculate mentally, right? But remember this tip from our source material. 25 is really simply 5 times 5.
Because of that, we can just adapt our spell into the advanced double halving spell. Step 1, halve the number twice. Step 2, add 2 zeros. So we take our 88, halve it once to get 44, halve it twice to get 22. See how it shrinks down so easily?
Then you just tack on those 2 zeros to the 22, and boom, instantly we have our answer, 2,200. I mean, that is such a satisfying aha moment when you realize you just multiplied a large number by 25 in literally a fraction of a second.
All right, Section 3, the divide first shortcut.
Okay, how would you approach this terrifying equation, 88 times 56 divided by 44?
I'm just going to pause for a second to let the pure intimidation of that sink in. I mean, when most people see equations like this, the immediate instinct is to just give up or immediately reach for their smartphone.
But let's compare our options here. First, the nightmare route, multiplying first. 88 times 56 gives you a massive 4,928. And then you have to figure out how to divide that giant behemoth of a number by 44. Absolute torture. But instead, we can use an elegant little shortcut. Divide first. We can actually shrink the monster down before we even have to engage it. Just look at 88 divided by 44. It's just 2.
Look how incredibly simple this becomes. The entire terrifying equation just collapses into 2 times 56, making the final answer of 112 incredibly easy to find. So the rule of thumb here is crystal clear. Whenever you have multiplication and division in the exact same equation, always look to shrink the numbers with division first. Imagine doing your taxes or splitting shared expenses with roommates. Finding that division shortcut is a massive headache saver.
Moving into Section 4, Secrets of Percentages and Fractions.
So the crucial point here is that percent isn't just some abstract math word. It literally translates to per 100. The source material really stresses that bringing this abstract concept down to a visual reality is the ultimate key to mastering it. Notice how this visualizes 20 colored slices out of a total of 100 slices. That is exactly what 20% means. If you can visualize that 100-slice grid, percentages lose absolutely all of their mystery. This is super handy when you're at a store trying to figure out exactly how much that 20% off sale is actually going to save you.
Now check out the secret 1/8 family matrix, derived directly from the tutoring sessions in our source. A lot of people really struggle to convert fractions like 1/8 to a decimal or a percentage, but the source material shares this magical key. Knowing that 8 times 125 equals 1,000 unlocks the whole family. 1/8 becomes the decimal 0.125, which is 12.5%. 3/8 becomes 0.375, or 37.5%. Knowing this single matrix unlocks instant conversions across the board, completely bypassing the need for any long division.
Before we wrap up, I want to share one last rapid illusion trick from the source. What if you need to calculate 99 times 77? Well, instead of struggling with that awkward 99, cast an illusion. Just round it up to a friendly 100. Imagine 100 times 77, which is an easy 7,700. Then, just magically subtract 177. 7,700 minus 77 is 7,623. You did the whole thing through a clever little subtraction illusion.
Which brings us to our final test. Using the spell of 5 we learned earlier, can you solve 124 times 5 in your head right now? Remember, have the number, add a 0. Take a second. Okay, half of 124 is 62. Add a 0. Did you get 620? You totally did. It leaves you feeling incredibly empowered, doesn't it? As we've seen in this explainer, math isn't a chore at all. It's a whole universe of shortcuts just waiting to be found. So what other math magic is out there waiting for you to discover?